Meteorologist Mike Konopka here, 6 o'clock update on Monday, January 6, 2025. We're just getting through this little clipper system that's moving off the coast right now. Here is our current satellite picture. We're going to give you an update on this guy here, and then we're going to move on to the next big storm, which is going to be this upcoming weekend, which right now still ways away, so it's a little premature to say we're definitely going to have it. It's definitely going to develop, but the signal is there, and I'll show you a couple model runs that show you that. So again, we have our system here moving off the coast. Here's our low pressure moving. We had a decent amount of snowfall in the swath area, as we talked about yesterday. Southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland, northern Virginia, Delaware. Those places really hit the jackpot in terms of snowfall. And now we turn our sights to the next storm coming up this upcoming weekend. So we're going to fast forward here to our GFS model, valid Thursday morning. And I'm just going to very slowly scroll through here, and you'll see the storm or the low start to develop here in the southern part of the country over Texas. And then this way here, and believe it or not, Texas has been a while since they had a decent amount of snowfall, and they are forecasted later this week to have a significant amount of snow and some cold. We'll talk about that as well, especially the colder temperatures up here in the Northeast. But as we keep going and we see the storm start to develop again, this is the GFS model. This is not a forecast. I want to be very clear with that. You see the low develop just south of Louisiana, and is going to make its way further northward. You can see the clear rain snow line here, Tennessee, even northern Mississippi and Alabama, Kentucky into West Virginia, looking like all snow. We even could have some ice here in the Carolinas and in Tennessee as well, so we have to keep an eye out for that. But as the storm starts to move again northeast and make its way up the coast, and you can see that it really starts to intensify here once it reaches the coast. I think that reads 988 millibars there. The low pressure hugging the coast of the eastern seaboard, and then making its way up a little bit further north, east-northeast into New England. And then you see it really bombs out, 966, it looks like. We're looking at right there the central pressure as the GFS has. So you have a lot of energy bringing the moisture off the Atlantic Ocean. You're also going to have a lot of precipitation. So we'll get to that in a minute. Like I said, that's just one of the models that shows the signal. I'll show you a couple of them. The three long-range models that we look at, the GFS, the Euro, and the Canadian, all show the signal. It's just a matter of the track and if some of the phasing is going to occur out of the northern trough. So let's move on here, looking at some of our temperatures. So these are our temperatures as of today, and you can see as I scroll forward here in time, the cold air remains. The cold air really doesn't go anywhere. All these temperatures are right at, you're talking about from down here in Virginia, in northern North Carolina, all the way up into the Northeast. You look at those numbers and you're all looking at something below the freezing mark. So the cold air is in place and will remain in place. As you see, keep going. Doesn't warm up at all. Wednesday, we get into Thursday. And again, you're looking at those reds, those purples, those blues, those numbers are in the 20s. Not getting any warmer. So the cold air will be in place all week. So that's certainly going to help the chances of any snowfall for this upcoming system this weekend. Friday, you see it warms up a little bit, and then back to below freezing on Saturday. And here comes our system. You can see the temperature gradient as it hugs the coast there. All right, so we have the cold air in place, and now we move on to our forecasting. And again, we're looking at just three different models here, where there's a lot still to happen, a lot of time to go by. But just to give you guys an update about what's going on. Here's our GFS. This is the one that we looked at earlier. And I just want to, again, we're going to point out some major differences here. So we'll go right to Saturday night at 7 p.m. And here's it starts to intensify. Our central pressure is 977 millibars here. The low is just east southeast of New York City, and you see the precipitation shield to the north is really where it's going to dump that snow. And if we look at our snow map, this is valid on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You'll see that there's a very clear line here as we go back and forth, pretty much, from Washington, D.C. up the New Jersey Turnpike, up 95. That's what the GFS has right now in terms of your major snow versus a lot of mixing and rain beneath that line. Now we can take a look at the euro, and the euro is just a little different, if you want to call it that. As we scroll forward in time here, we'll get to, it's Friday, this is Saturday, and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and our low is all the way down here at 985 millibars. So if I compare that to the GFS, that is a major difference in terms of the track. Major difference. This is a significant event for the Northeast. This is just about nothing for the Northeast. So again, we're looking at our storm tracks and how these models vary. And this is something I have to keep an eye on throughout the week. If I go ahead and take a look at the snowfall that the euro will produce. If I scroll forward again, oh no, we're in the 18. I'll have to go back to the 12Z. Forgive me on that. If we scroll forward to Sunday morning, 7 a.m., just about nothing here across the board. There's really not much going on here. And then we have our last one, which is the Canadian model. If I can click over and find it, we'll just go here. I'll start with the snowfall totals for 7 a.m. The Canadian has kind of a blend of what the Euro and the GFS has. If you can see here, I'll scroll over to this. And that's Sunday morning. We'll go back to Saturday evening. And here we can compare the Euro, this is the Canadian model versus the GFS. And you can see, again, the track difference. And again, that means the difference in snowfall, as we discussed before, and how much, where that rain snow line will line up. The further off the coast, a little less precipitation, but the temperatures remain cold, which would support snow. The closer this gets, the closer this low center gets, like here, you can see that the rain snow line is much closer to the coast. So some of the shore areas, Long Island, the Jersey Shore, the eastern shore of Maryland, Delaware, will see a lot of mixing instead of just straight snowfall. So long story short, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time before our next couple, before this event, and before we have a handle on it. We'll see how things develop. And keep it here. Don't forget to hit subscribe to all of the MFK weather videos, our winter weather updates, and beyond. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at some point in time to give you another update. And don't forget, the weather is the weather. Only hope it gets better. See you guys tomorrow.